I want to welcome you to this week of In the DAW. We are honored, we are pleasured, we are blessed in order to have Fabian Mazur. How you doing today, man?
All good, man. Thank you. Pleasure being here.
We're gonna be breaking down this lovely slong. It's a song. Lovely song called Level Up. When did Level Up come out, man?
It came out last month.
And how's it doing?
It's doing pretty well. So far as like SoundCloud and Spotify goes, it's been racking up a little bit of plays.
What we're gonna start doing, we started doing this in our podcast Behind the DAW, but in the middle of this episode, I'm gonna give a music business tip, particularly in social media marketing, that I think is gonna help push this song even further. So stay tuned for that. If for the viewers watching, make sure to stay tuned for that because it's gonna be really, really cool. Really quick, for those who are watching, we got 5 links in the description. The first link is a link to the In the DAW and the Behind the DAW Patreon. It is the reason why we can do this. It is $1 a month, and it ensures that we can keep doing these type of videos indefinitely, forever, to keep bringing on amazing people like Fabian Mazur and keep growing all of us as producers. So for the viewers, please check that out. The next link is for artist suggestions. If you want to suggest someone to come on the show, go ahead and click on that link. The third link is private lessons. If you want private lessons in electronic music production or social media marketing, go ahead and click on that. We can set that up for you. The fourth link also has to do with social media marketing. It is a giveaway. If you click on that link, you will be entered to win a free 20-minute social media marketing consultation. We can look at you, we can look at your brand, see what you're doing, give you some tips. And then finally, we are going to be giving away the synth lead in the drop of this song. Sounds like this. If you want that for free, go ahead and click on that link down in the description.
First question I'm curious about is how you did all those vocal. I suppose there might be those vocal chops down there. Was it using a sampler, or did you use like Melodyne to pitch shift it? Or?
I was doing a remix of Zed's track called Middle, and he has that vocal thing made like an EXS sampler track in Logic while I was working on that remix, and I was like, wait, this is cool for another song, because I was playing around with it. While I was working on the Zed remix, I went and started this song. So I took those chops, which is actually the part of the Zed song where it goes, baby, why don't you love me, and I just chopped it up and pitched everything up a lot. So basically, if we strip everything away from the channel strip here, it sounds like this. So I just took the part of the acapella and just spaced it out on different keys and just played it on the keyboard until it sounded dope. And then I pitched it up an octave and just processed it a lot.
When you're talking about the acapella, is that the acapella for the middle, or is this a different acapella?
It's the acapella for the middle.
On your channel chain, there's a plugin in Soundshift. What is that?
So Soundshifter is a plugin from Waves, and from experimenting a lot, I found that this is the best way to get something up an octave without the whole audio quality format stay intact. I mean, it's the best way for me to pitch it up an octave.
Just so the viewers know, we are Waves affiliate. So if you want this plugin, hit us up. We can get you a discount. Also, Fabian, if you want plugins in the future with gnarly discounts, hit us up.
I'm a big advocate of Soundshifter.
Can you click on the chroma reverb? I love the way that thing looks.
Let's talk about chroma, because I love this reverb so much. Do you know it?
I only know it from reading an article about it. All I know is when you press play, there is really cool things that happen.
Yeah, like, exactly. So Chroma is Logic's new convolution reverb, and it just sounds amazing. All right, so when you're in Chromaverb, you have these different halls to choose from. They're all pretty distinct, actually. I like the vocal hall for like synths and vocals, and I use the ones down here, especially the Strange Room and the Bloomy, for more experimental stuff, like atmospheric stuff and effects and stuff. It's just so cool. I mean, it sounds really good. I haven't really found anything that's close to this one. Waves has that, what's it called? I think it's called H reverb, which is pretty good as well. I use Chromaverb for almost everything. I just love the visual thing. I mean, I'm such a noob with this stuff. I mean, if it has a pretty visual appearance, I like it. This one sounds good too.
Adam, you have a synth that's very visual.
Is it the plant-based one?
Yes, that's one. What is that?
Synthland, right?
Yeah, that's one of the most innovative things I've ever come across in my whole. You have like a seed of an idea, and then you plant it, and it makes like eight or 12 different variations, and then you pick your favorite, and then you like replant it. So it's like a whole new different way of approaching sound design.
I love random stuff like that. It's crazy intuitive with this stuff.
It's like planning a little synth family. You know what I mean? You're just watching the generations grow up. That's so cool.
The question that most people are wondering is how you made the main bass or lead, whatever you call it, the primary cool noise in the main bit.
I spent a lot of time doing these leads because I didn't really know where to go with the track. And at first, it wasn't really tonal enough. But let me play you all of them. Let me just freeze up some of the other elements of the track.
While we're doing that, while you're freezing up some of those elements, we can have our music business tip. How about that? Huh?
Yes, that's a great idea.
All right, so go ahead and keep freezing those things, doing those things. So, like I mentioned, we're going to start doing a music business tip in every episode. So, in this week, we're going to talk about how to get more views on Facebook. Which, if you get more views on Facebook, it can be the funnel that can drive people to where you truly want them to go, whether it's SoundCloud or YouTube or Spotify, Apple Music, so on and so forth. So what you can do is when you release a song, or like Fabian here, he does vlogs and he does tutorials and stuff like that. When you want to get more views in that kind of stuff, what you can do is you upload the full music video, the full song, the full lyric video, the full episode, whatever it is, to Facebook. When you upload it to Facebook, it pushes it out. It'll say like, hey, you reached this many people. It's not going to be very much because Facebook loves to make money. Most people think that the only way to get views and to get reach is if you boost a post. By the way, don't boost posts. Don't. It's of the devil. If you want to push a post, you do an ad. Don't do a boost. Anyways, so once you post the video, what you can do is you can then go into your video library. You can select the particular video that you want to keep pushing. What you can do is you can select that video and you can say use as post again or something of that variation. I forget exactly what it is, but there's a button in the bottom right corner. So when you select that, it basically creates a new post with that video without resetting the views. The reason why this is beneficial is because each time you put out a post, whether it's a video or just a post or a picture or what have you on Facebook, it sends it out to different people, right? It says that the little thing that says you reached X amount of people. If you were to put out that exact same post again, it'll reach another set of people and another set and another set. So essentially you can keep posting the exact same thing and it'll keep putting out to different people, but you're still going to be racking up the views and the likes and the comments. So that way it's basically a free way to boost. Keep racking up those views and racking up those views. The more views you get, the more it'll be in like related videos when people are watching videos on Facebook. And the more people that watch your videos, the more you can push people towards the links that are in the videos, whether it's to Spotify or to SoundCloud or to what have you.
The drop is made from 3 leads. I actually started making the second one, which sounds like this. I made this first over the drums and realized that the bounce was really cool, but it didn't really have any tone at all. It's just like, I think it was the comb or the reverb filter in Serum. All right, and we also got the reverb filter in the filtering section here. So it's like double trouble.
Quick question with that though. I see that it originally was a cymatics thing. So did you find a cymatics preset and then just tweak it to your heart's desire?
Yes, I did. I browsed the presets, and what I usually do is I'll browse presets until I find something that's like cool, and then I process it afterwards. And with this one, I actually think I did the LFOing myself. I can't really remember. What I usually do is I'll make an LFO just to give it that whop, and just take the LFO to the level meters of both oscillators, so it kind of does the whoop sound. And then I love reverb filters. I mean, last year the leads have been made using reverb filters in Serum. I love that so much. But yeah, I made this lead and I figured that it needed some more tonal stuff on top of it as well. Yeah, it was sounding pretty bland. I made this one. Sharp sounding, weird, airy lead. And let's just hop into Serum here.
Was it a variation of the one that you just showed us, or is this a different patch altogether?
No, it was a variation of the one I showed you that I just did a lot more stuff. So I added the a different comb filter here, which is pretty crucial to the sound, because without the comb filter, it would sound like this. what I did was I took the LFO, can't remember if it was the first, yeah, it was the second one. And I did kind of a different shape with a little bit more release and took it to the comb filter cutoff. So every time it plays, you have the comb filter. Yeah, pretty crucial to the sound. I'll play you the third one I did as well. And that's basically just a tonal step to make it more tonal because it's still pretty sharp and not really that tonal at all. Third one is just some tonal steps that I did primarily on the snares actually. Just some to give it more tonality. I think it's really important when mentioning these synths that the cool thing about them is actually made in Effectrix.
What is this? This looks amazing.
It's an effects engine that you can use to like randomize stuff with. And I just did some reverb things here. So every time, let me just play it. Every time it crosses the section that has reverb, it gives it a lot of reverb. I took the wet level up to 70 here. It gives it a lot of reverb. Let me just play it so you can visualize it. Note that the audio is a bit behind, but it's dry unless it hits the pink patterns there with the reverb. It saves you like an hour of automating a reverb, and automating in Logic with reverb is not really that accurate anyway, so this is a much easier method of doing it.
So just so I understand, if you were to hit anything else on that grid, it would turn that on that division,
exactly.
so to say.
Let's try to put some reverbs just to do something here. It's a really old plugin, actually. I learned it like 5 years ago or something. You can do some really cool stuff in here, though.
That is a little gem. That not even a little gem. That's a mighty gem.
A mighty gem, yeah.
It's amazing.
But that's actually what makes this lead sound interesting because it would be all dry unless that plugin was activated.
How did you go about creating the rhythm and the melodic portion to these? Because I find when I make really cool songs and actually finding like a melodic thing to do is really hard because I just want to ride on that root note and not do anything else. So
I can't really speak a lot about melodic rhythm here because it's only 2 tones, I think. It's just ba, ba. It's mainly just playing an octave for the sake of the variation, but there's not a lot of melodic stuff going on here. No, it's actually only octaves. It glides a lot. I think I have the portamento, all the way halfway actually.
But you're mostly just writing on octaves, right?
Yeah, I am, mostly octaves, yeah. That's the thing about these leads. They're not really interesting by themselves per se, but the whole like the reverb variation, the gliding, all the effect stuff like the muting, automation, and all that makes it a bit more interesting.
As far as the rhythm that these things are playing, did you play it on a keyboard? Did you just draw it in? Like, how did you come up with it?
I always play stuff on a keyboard. I never quantize my stuff.
I was wondering why it was groovy.
Really, really, really crucial part of getting a song to bounce right, especially when you're doing like trap stuff with hip hop drums like I did here. So you see everything is not really on beat. Everything is a little bit early, but I never quantize my stuff at all. And it also has to do a lot with the fact that I would do LFOs that makes the lead not attack right away. So I would also have to move the synths a little bit because of the wops.
The wop.
Wondering about your sidechain compression. Are you doing normal sidechaining, or how do you typically work?
Not at all. So I usually, if you've watched my own videos here, I'm a big advocate of the one-knob pumper plugin from Waves. I use that on all my tracks. I love this one so much. It's just a simple sidechain plugin. And actually, with a lot of stuff, I will sidechain it. I will sidechain it with the pumper first, and then sidechain it manually to the kick or with a plugin, which I later did with the Solid Dynamics from Native Instruments here. I actually have the pumper plugin. Okay, my mouse is killing me. All right, hold on a second. Let me just switch up these batteries because this is not working.
Do you really eat oatmeal every day?
Every day.
Every single day? Do you ever get sick of it?
I've had oatmeal every day for almost 5 years, I think. I love that so much.
I'm proud of you, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I could do it, man.
No, trust me. Once you get into it, you're never going to get out of it. So what I will usually do is have the one-knob pumper plugin do like a 4x4 sidechain. And then I have the Solid Dynamics from Native Instruments that I used to sidechain to the kick.
I've never used the Solid Dynamics for that reason. That is cool.
It's pretty good, actually. I kind of like sidechaining with that one. So yeah, I actually double sidechain in this instance, which is really weird but it gives it that really pumpy effect.
No, that's awesome. Said the Sky does the same thing and he loves doing it. So just so that I understand with the one knob is, it's not necessarily being triggered by any MIDI note or whatever, right? It's always going. It's just being triggered by the metronome. Cool. Does that ever get in the way if you want to put something on like a quarter note?
Yeah, of course it does. But then I just automate it. Like, I didn't do it here actually, but usually I will automate the pumper. It's such a show automating in Logic though. It's not precise at all. It really is. I should really switch to Ableton. I should.
I was gonna ask you that.
I know. Everyone asks me and I'm always saying the same thing. Oh, I'm gonna make the switch eventually, but I don't know, man.
If you could push Fabian over the edge, Mr. Adam, what feature of Ableton just makes it all worth it?
I feel like almost how significant it is in the general producing community is also is almost like the main reason to use it. Like there are lots of things you can do in Logic that you can't in Ableton, and vice versa. But and you can also, if you learn any one of them in enough detail, you can work around all the limitations for the most part. Yeah. But just the fact that over 80% of all producers use Ableton just means it's like an easier like community almost to be in as a producer in terms of learning and getting presets and collaborating and stuff like that. And I kind of feel like it's got more of a future in it than Logic. Like I don't really trust Apple to support anything ever in the future.
Sadly, I do agree with you.
Yeah, I kind of feel like unless what they're making shaped like an iPhone, I don't quite trust them to ever work on it ever again.
So true, man.
I say this as somebody who used to work for Apple and who now hates them aggressively, and but still uses all their products. So that MacBook Air update was the most embarrassing thing ever. Like
exactly,
literally, they upgraded it to something it should have been 5 years ago and added 0 new features in between now and what it should have been 5 years ago.
Yeah. It just sucks, man. They're like always behind on processors and all that.
We're all hypocrites because we're all using Apple stuff, but like at the same time, it's like this really vicious relationship, man. Because it's like their stuff is good, but it's just like it has the potential to be more. It's like raising a kid. That is the struggle of raising a child. You know they could be more. Anyways, doesn't matter. I'm not getting into that. Let's get back to this. Let's talk about how you incorporate that gentle balance of repetition and variation. I've noticed quite a lot when people send me songs, when they want feedback on songs, it's either on one end or the other. It's like it's too repetitive, like there's almost no change, or it's too variation. It's just like whoa there. And so how do you find that gentle balance between the two?
So this is something that I struggle with a lot, actually, because I think the eternal dilemma with producing this type of music is, should the second drop be the same as the first one? And that's such a big issue. And on this song, I kept the second drop almost the same as the first one, with a few small changes in fills and stuff. Because I feel like I tried, like at first I spent like 2 days trying to do a different second drop, and then I realized that it would be a completely different song if I did a different second drop. With this kind of music, you have to think about it also being able to be played out live and work well. So it shouldn't be too repetitive, but it shouldn't either be not repetitive at all, because that would be weird live. Usually on my breaks, I would do variations such as double timing the claps or doing more atmospheric stuff or stuff like that. And on drops, just to use this one as an example, I will like defer the lead melody a little bit and do fills and stuff like that. So instead of going ba 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 ba, it goes ba 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 ba, like really small stuff like that. Also have these chord stabs that in the first drop they go like this, and in the second drop I did the chords a little bit different, so they sound like this. Small stuff like that, details.
From what I can see is that like you kind of started with like 2 bars, you built it, you made it sound good, duplicated it, varied it a little bit, and then you took those 4 bars, duplicated it, varied it a little bit until you got the first drop. Then you took the first drop, copied it over, and then you varied the second drop. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Exactly. That's exactly what you're hearing.
That is awesome. That is one of the biggest tricks for newer producers to figure out. They get that 2 bars done, and then they think they have to reinvent the wheel. It's like, no.
Yeah, exactly. No. Exactly. I used to think that a lot myself. It's all about also finding your own way of working around stuff like this. But this is a good way of doing it, I think, for most producers.
Do you master your own tracks?
No, I don't. I started mixing my own tracks a little more than a year ago. I did some masters myself. And then I figured out that it's always better to get different ears on it. Because every time I tried another engineer to get it mastered, it would always come out like 5% better. So at one point, I just realized that, hey, it might be better to actually get every song you do mastered elsewhere. Even though I have Ozone on here, it's just for bouncing purposes. Like I bounced it out with ozone to play it out and test it out.
In that case, let's talk about your mixing process. So what, like let's say you haven't mixed this song yet. You just barely got done putting all the elements together. Walk me through like what your process is. Where would you start? What's the next steps and all that stuff?
So usually I do mixing along the way, which I think most people do, obviously. So when I get into the process of actually mixing something, it's usually like 80% done already mix wise. So what I would do in the mix sessions is I would take all the elements and like start with the element I want to be most in focus, which in this case would be the vocals and the drop. And then I'll mix them first and get everything sounding crisp and clear. And then I mix everything afterwards according to the vocals and the leads.
And so when you're talking about, how you said how the vocals and the drop, when you talk about the drop, you're just talking about the main leads in the drop.
Yeah, I'm talking about the main lead. Yeah, exactly.
So, cool. So after you get your vocals and your leads sounding good, then you move to like the drums, or what comes after that?
Yeah, exactly. So usually I would do vocals and lead first, and then I would move on to either the drums or the bass. What I would usually do in these mix sessions is I'll find like a reference track or two beforehand. So the minute I start my mixing, I already have 1 or 2 reference tracks that I can cross listen to, like A, B, all the time, just to get everything straight. Because, I mean, let's face it, no producer in a small studio like this has the perfect listening environment.
I'll give you a selfish plug for yourself. So I guess it's an unselfish plug. How does that work? Anyways, Fabian here has an amazing video about 10 mixing tips. If you guys haven't checked that out, I highly encourage you to. It'll be a little thing will pop up in the right corner right now. So you can click on that. You can go to that video and you can check that out. They're really, really good tips. So go ahead and check that out. So how you were saying the vocal chops in the beginning was from Zed's song, but the level up vocal, that's not from Zed's song, is it?
No, that's actually my own. And that's the funny thing, the old one, because I initially did like a whole verse thing recorded. Let's see if we can find. It was just me saying level up in like a fake Rasta accent. I actually have no idea what this is, but I think it's a verse.
Let's go.
Oh, the main vocals is actually something I recorded, and please don't mind my very long vocal channel strip here. Yeah, it's actually full. It's not possible to put another plugin on the channel strip. Shout out to Logic for allowing me to have 15 plugins here. I had the idea of how I wanted it to sound, and when I recorded it, I was like, this sounds awful. But I actually think I managed to process myself out of it. So let me just go through the important plugins here. De-esser, gate, compressor, the sound shifter again, which is 3 semitones up. And then the manipulator from the good old friends at Polyverse. And actually, I think let me just double check, did something on the build where I used the manipulator to automate the format. And this is great because manipulators, like the engine, the way it does the formats of the vocals is great. So let me just play you guys the part where. On the build, I have the vocal format down. Pitch correction keeps everything. I put the scale to drone, which is funny because sometimes it will sound awful and sometimes it creates this fun effect, which it did in this instance, because I mean the original recorded vocal wasn't really in key. It was just me yelling with a light voice. And then let's see, we have the reverb, the neutron. Neutron is a great plugin for mixing as well. Then OTT, of course, the voice centric from Waves, which I kind of like. It gives the vocal a little bit of that edge. And just to limit it because everything was sounding horrible and clippy and all that. And then I have the pumper. I think I automated the pumper as well. Yep. So just here, I automated the reverb tail. And in the build, I automated, the up. So it just pumps a little bit to give everything a sidechain feel.
What the heck is a drone scale? I've never heard of that before.
Funny thing you asked that because I have no idea. It's something that I've only found the drone scale in the pitch correction plugin from Logic. And it's something that's, actually, let's try to see. It's something that's close to a single note thing. C sharp and the G sharp.
So it's only a fifth apart? It only allows those two?
It's only the root and a fifth. This pitch correction plugin is awful, but sometimes it can create a really cool effect.
Oh, I suppose, yeah, because it's audio, isn't it? Not MIDI, so yeah, it'll give some strange results. What was the most difficult part of the track?
The most difficult part of, I think, 90% of all the tracks I do is the drop. Because I find it really difficult to do like unique drops per se, but also just like finding a drop lead and designing a drop lead is something that I will spend hours on. Like I will do the initial idea for a song like this one in a day, and then I will spend 1 to 2 weeks just sound designing a drop and getting everything to sound cool. Once again, the drop is the part I struggle with the most.
I mean, it certainly doesn't sound like the bit you struggled with. So yes.
Oh, I did.
Oh, I did. Would you like our feedback on your song?
I would love that.
My feedback this time is positive feedback. So I think it's equally important to give positive feedback where you think something worked as well as
You're
negative
not getting
feedback.
roasted this time, man. Next time you'll get roasted.
Yeah. Again, it sounds simple, but something that most people get wrong is you name the track after the level up bit in the intro. So in terms of the track almost having identity and me remembering it, it almost immediately clicked. Whereas oftentimes people send me tracks and it's hard to remember what they did because it's almost hard to make that connection. But just simply having that level up thing repeating a few times, and also the track being called Level Up, just kind of helped it almost like just make a mark in my brain quite easier anyway. So yeah.
That is some good advice, man.
Thank you, man. I'm super happy to hear that, actually.
That is such a good idea because do you guys know who A Day to Remember is?
Nope.
Totally not an electronic world. They're totally like post-hardcore, rock, alternative kind of stuff. But anyways, the just to give you an example of what he's talking about and why it's good is that they have a song it's called If It Means a Lot to You. What sucks about it is that it was like one of my favorite songs for a really long time, but it never says in any part in the entire song if it means a lot to you. It doesn't say that at all. So I didn't listen to it for like years, and then it just popped in my mind one day. I'm like, oh man, what is it called? And I started singing it in my head, but like, no, wait, it's not in the song, And so it's kind of like, you don't want that. You want people to be able to sing your song and be like, that's the title. I like that, Multi. That's good.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there are places to get creative and confuse the audience, but having them remember the name of your song shouldn't be one of those places to confuse people.
That's some good stuff. Who's that guy in the background?
That's a very good question, actually. I don't know. I'm sitting in the studio complex, just like 4 other studios here, but I thought it was the only one here, actually. Pretty scary. I'm sitting down in like a dark basement here.
Cool. So my feedback that I have for you is, first off, this is a freaking amazing song. I do have
Thank you, man.
I have some feedback to make the song better, potentially. But before we get into that, it is a very, very good song. In fact, I was listening to it on the Trap Nation Spotify playlist, and I usually go through that just to hear new songs and whatnot. And, most of the time, like I'm going to say like 80% of the time I listen to a song, I'm like, and I just kind of skip. But yours, it caught me. I was writing an email and it got me. It got me good. You nailed it, dude. You nailed it. There's something I don't know what it is, but there's something about this song that caught my attention very, very good. I think it was you had the sound design, you had the catchy rhythm, you had it, man. You got me.
Thank you so much.
Got it.
I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. So something that I think that could make the track better is those little chord stabs that you showed us, kind of like I think they're like in the middle of each drop, right?
Yeah.
Those ones. So I'm assuming they're just playing the key of the song, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Okay. What I noticed that when I heard them, they seemed almost a little too peppy, a little too happy, because the drop comes in, it's kind of like aggressive, it's nice, it's going good, but when they came in, it was a little too happy for me, so to say. So what I would highly encourage you to do is maybe throw in something a little bit else, maybe like the Dorian mode at that specific time,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Just give it a little bit crunch, give it a little. Personally, that's just to taste. That's just I like dark music, anyways. So if I had a little bit more like a what's called like a tritone in there, or a harmonic seventh, just something to be like,
yeah, sure.
Okay, you got me. So
you'll
that's my
hear
feedback.
that in my next track for sure.
Good. Multi, any other questions or feedback or anything?
No, that's good. That's I thought it was a really cool track. Nice one.
Thank you so much.
Really, really good track. Absolutely. And so the final question hit you with you thought you were done. No, you're not done. You got one more question.
What do you got for me? What do you got?
Did you have a good time?
I had an amazing time. Thank you for having me.
Amazing time. If you could send a viewer, basically have a call to action, where would you send them? Would you say to SoundCloud, Spotify? Where do you want them to go after watching this video?
That's funny, actually. The good old social media question. I think I would say Spotify. A year ago, I would have said SoundCloud, but now I'm going to say Spotify.
Spotify. Viewers, go check it out. Go check out his Spotify. And I actually can vouch for this. His Spotify is amazing. You're an amazing producer, by the way.
Thank you so much.
The one song that you did, it had Rasta vocals in it. What was Arena, dude.
Oh yeah, Arena. It's like me, fake Rasta accent, and like on another level. It's awful.
The dude from Denmark acting like he's from Jamaica. I love it. Hey DAW Nation, hope you enjoyed this episode of In the DAW with Fabian Mazur breaking down his song Level Up. If you did, please let us know down in the comments. But if you didn't, please let us know down in the comments. Also, don't forget about those 5 links in the description that we talked about at the beginning of the video. If you forgot what those were already, it is one link is for the Patreon, one link is for artist suggestions, so you can suggest certain artists to come on the show. The third link is for private lessons in music production or social media marketing. The next link is a chance to win a 20-minute free consultation for social media marketing, so go ahead and click on that, it's free. And then the last link is for the bass lead preset that Fabian was breaking down in the drop. So if you want that, go ahead and click on that link. And then right about now, you're going to see some things pop up on the screen, one of which is Multiplier's face. If you want to subscribe to the channel, go ahead and click on that. Also, click the little bell icon that's next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get notified whenever we put out a new episode. Also, you'll see a playlist of every single In the DAW episode that we've done. So go ahead and click on that. Or if you're looking for more specific episodes that are like this episode, I've also included 2 episodes on the screen that are similar to this type of music that we broke down today. Again, thank you so much for watching this episode of In the DAW, and also make sure to check out our podcast, Behind the DAW. You can listen to it basically anywhere: iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Deezer, Google Play, YouTube, wherever you want to. You can find it there, Behind the DAW. We've interviewed people like Two Friends, Laura Brem, the CEO and founder of Trap Nation, Fox Stevenson, Varian, AU5, a whole bunch of other people. So please go check that out. And finally, make sure to check back here in 2 weeks for the next episode of In the DAW. Probably going to be with Caked Up, but we haven't figured out our release schedule yet. So maybe it's with Urban Step, maybe it's with Caked Up, maybe it's with someone else. Who knows? You got to come back and check it out. So again, thank you so much for watching this episode of In the DAW. Go check out Behind the DAW. Check out those links, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of In the DAW.